you're able to take your clients even
Right.
further.
Yeah.
Yes, you know.
I tell them all.
I love that.
You can't go through it. You can't get to the other end
Right.
without going through it.
Very true.
And
Very true.
we are capable.
Absolutely.
I'm capable. You're
Mhm.
capable.
Mm-hmm.
And we can go. And I
Mhm.
will be with you every step of the way to get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we try going up.
Yeah.
We try going down. We
Yeah.
try going to the side.
Yeah. Yeah. Got to go through it.
You gotta go through
Yeah.
it.
I wholeheartedly concur. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Carmen Majid. Thank you so much for joining me for another segment of Conversations with Carmen. This morning, I am truly excited to be joined by another one of my esteemed colleagues. This is Casey Huynh, licensed marriage and family therapist, and I'm super excited to have you on the podcast today.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this conversation. All right, well, let's jump right in. Let's start with maybe a little bit of background. You shared some really, really intriguing things with me when we chatted a couple of weeks ago. Mainly, I'm curious about just a little bit of your personal background. I know that you were born in Vietnam, particularly you were coming up through the Vietnam War years, and I'm just curious about your experience overarchingly. What were some of your takeaways? What was life like during that time?
Well, I was born in 1974, so it's toward the tail end, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I was 6 years old when my family decided, oh, we better leave Vietnam
Yeah.
because we were Indo-Chinese.
Okay.
My grandparents came from China.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know how the whole plan got set up. I was 6. Don't remember much other than living at my grandmother's house in the country,
Mm-hmm.
where it probably was safer for me before we left.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was a group of us leaving, my mom, my brother, myself, my aunt, my cousin.
Yeah.
And on the way, we were split up. We were separated.
Mm-hmm.
So you had to go from where you're at down to where the water is to catch a boat.
Mm-hmm.
So then you can leave.
Mm-hmm.
And we got separated.
Wow.
And I ended up with my young aunt.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I remember you talked to me about that. So the separation, I'm gathering that it wasn't necessarily planned. It just happened.
Oh, yeah. No,
Yeah.
when you're escaping, it was life or death.
Yeah.
So I was 6. I didn't know anything.
Wow.
You know, I didn't even know there was another world out there.
Mm-hmm.
It was just go.
Mm-hmm.
You're asked to do this.
Absolutely.
And in the midst of it, whatever happened just happened. There was zero control
Yeah,
whatsoever.
Right. Definitely. Yeah.
So saw a lot of, but you know, I made it onto the boat, and it was a small boat,
Mm-hmm.
and we drifted into the Gulf of Thailand,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where I experienced Thai pirates.
Right.
Yeah, lots
Yeah.
of killing, lots of blood.
Wow.
And my aunt was kidnapped by the Thai pirates.
Yeah. How old was your aunt around that time?
I think she was about between 17, 19.
so. A
Very
teenager.
young.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So that image never escaped me. And till this day, we don't even know where she is.
Really.
Yeah. Wow. So I had to, at one point in my early 20s, worked on accepting that she's gone.
Absolutely.
Because when I accepted that, then I can live.
Yes.
It was hard to live when you're wondering if someone else is
course.
there, you know.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah.
And that leads me to wonder, I know that you were, and I'm sure you'll get into this a little bit, but I know you were eventually reunified with your mom. But I'm just wondering, you know, as a 6-year-old plus, making sense of temporarily losing your mother and then permanently / indefinitely losing your aunt, you know, what kind of impact that had on you?
Oh, I can feel tingling in my body as you're asking me that. And felt very alone. Yeah. And there's just this part inside me that says, you got to do this by yourself. And so there's this belief, like I'm on my own, I have to do everything myself, I got to do whatever to survive in the moment, was really kind of like inflamed in me.
Yeah.
So that's why I have a hard time asking for help.
Yeah. Right.
And it was very hard to see the help that I did get for a very long time because my mind was so strong in the belief that I was alone and that I had to do everything myself. And so growing up, even going through the profession and doing what I do now, there is this barrier, almost like a little barrier for me to see out.
Right.
And slowly, in I think it was undergrad, I took a course, and I had to practice how to lower that blind.
Yeah.
And every time it was every week there was a homework for me, like ask for a hug. And then I had to ask for a hug. Well, I didn't have to, but I wanted to train myself to break out of that.
Absolutely.
That invisible wall that I was that was like set that kept me alive for so long.
Yes. Yes.
So now I'm like, can I get help for that? Or
Exactly. Yeah. Well, it sounds like it was a long-standing coping strategy.
Yes.
And it was very functional in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And I think it sounds like born out of that was the resilient, determined individual who you are today.
Yeah.
Pardon me, and probably have been for quite some time. But then there's also something to be said about finding the middle.
Yeah.
Less of the black and white and more of the ambiguous gray at times. So not losing the resiliency and the inner strength and the determination, but also being able to sort of delicately blend that with, hey, but I can also engage people in my world and invite them into my space when I deemed that it's safe to do so and, appropriate, and ask for help.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Because I love EMDR so much, I learned that, at a very young age, I was made to believe a lot of things that was very unhealthy. It was survival at the time, but it's become very unhealthy.
Right.
And so to be able to take the steps to clean each one of that out was a wonderful journey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful journey.
Yeah.
And so the power of vulnerability, so to be able to ask for help for me is to say I'm vulnerable.
Yes.
Please help me because I can't do something.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And what you say to yourself about that, the narrative that you create, what do you say to yourself about it?
Right.
What do you believe about yourself? And then I think all of that sort of sets the stage for you being able to move forward with asking for help and receiving.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Accepting. So asking was hard.
Yep.
Right? Asking is like, oh.
Then
and then when I get it.
Yep. When it shows up, what do I do?
Yeah. When I get it, I was like, really?
Yeah.
I can have that?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. This feels so.
Yeah.
First, it felt uncomfortable, but now it feels nice. And it reminded me of a time when, you go to a restaurant and you eat, and the waiter and waitress come and give you these things.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm like, wow, this is nice. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, allowing others to pour into your cup. I think that's one of my favorite metaphors.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful. You mentioned then that you relocated to Michigan at the age of 7. That was to live with your father, right?
Yes.
What was that transition like? How did that happen?
Oh, yes. I turned an age by the time I got here in 1982. Muskegon, Michigan. So I've never seen a white person, a black person, person with blonde hair, red hair. I haven't seen any of that, because I just grew up in Vietnam and everybody looked like me.
Right.
And so everybody was pretty much like a giant to me.
Wow.
Because everyone was like tall.
Yeah.
Never seen anyone tall before.
Wow.
So it was an adjustment, but a heavenly adjustment. Yeah. I go from famine, no food, living in a barrack building, like just wood stuck together with nails everywhere.
Right.
And then now I have a house with a porch
Right.
with 2 levels and bedrooms.
Right.
And then people smiling, like I can remember people wearing robes coming out, good morning, good morning,
Wow.
you know. And then going to school, like what is that?
Right.
I went to school,
Yeah.
and most of the kids were white or African Americans.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't know how to speak the language. I didn't know any of the cues. So I learned yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
So if I don't like something, I say no. If I like something, I say yes.
Yeah.
And then I think I must have been very either scared because I would hit other kids.
Right. Remember you shared that with me.
Yeah, like I don't know what you're doing to me, you know.
Right.
And so I would hit other kids, and they would hire. They found a liaison lady. Her name is Lan Wen. Not family, not related. And then so she came, and then they would pull me out. I guess ESL or something, and then they would pull me out on the side, and she would just talk to me in our language.
Wow.
And then let me teach me how to read, teach me how to behave.
Right.
And then when I do really well, I get to do arts and craft because I love arts and craft.
Yeah. Wonderful.
So I'll do 30 minutes of whatever that she needs me to do, and then I'll have 30 minutes of making cards or cutting outs and stuff.
Love it.
So
yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Would you say that was part of your your acculturation journey? Did you, and I think with that I'm curious, do you feel like you immersed yourself in the American culture? And if so, did you retain some or a lot of your primary culture? How would you break that down?
I didn't see it as culture. I just saw it as, wow, I'm safe now.
Oh my goodness, I love that.
Like I didn't see color or anything. I just go, I'm safe now. And I've always been a curious child.
Yeah.
So I'm safe now. That's all I knew was, wow, I'm safe now. I'm safe to walk. I'm safe to talk. I'm safe to be my jittering self. Wow, okay. What is that? That's Christmas? Okay. Oh, that's ham. That's peas.
Yeah.
That's corn.
Yeah.
So for me, it was more like, I'm safe. I can experience whatever I'm in.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think I was in my own la la land, just having a sense of peace and safety and life. And so to me, everything was wonderful.
Yeah.
I did. Oh, you like me? Okay, I'll go with you. And church? Okay, I'll go to church. And I'll go to, what is it, Sunday school. And like, I didn't see color.
Right.
All I saw was
the experience
of life and all the food. Like my favorite food is deviled eggs.
Oh, yummy.
Deviled eggs. So there was a lot of potlucks and there was food available where I didn't have food before, and now there's food.
Yeah.
So I didn't.
Yeah.
For me, culture. I think I had more of a culture shock when I came to California.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because people in California is different. But people in Michigan, everybody was just friendly and loving and caring, and so it didn't affect me until I came here.
I love that. Yeah. It sounds like your world really started to open up. It really started to open up, and I'm wondering, do you feel like you differentiated between acknowledging and recognizing that your world was opening up versus trusting what was happening? Did the two go hand in hand, or did one take place before the other? Because we can receive and step into the experience, but for a lot of us, it's different. That's different than actually trusting what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You bring up a really good point. This concept of trust. So in the beginning, for a very long time, I thought I trusted blindly. But it was really as just exploring.
Okay.
So I learned that I really don't trust.
Okay.
I was just curious.
Yep.
And only until my later years when I realized, because there was this one part of me, like more things came up in my later years after Michigan that reinforces the belief that I can't trust the world. But I was curious, and I thought that was trust. So I just jumped in and do whatever, meet whatever people, and do whatever I wanted to do because it was fun.
Right.
It was exciting.
Right.
But little did I know
Right.
that little me inside
Right.
didn't trust.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's really
that's
striking.
a really good question. Oh.
Yeah, really striking point. Really striking point. Okay. All right. Thank you for going a little deeper.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that. We also touched on another, I would say, fragile period of your life, and of course, feel free to go as deep or not go as deep as you would like to. But yeah, you disclosed to me that you there was a period of time where you did struggle with your own mental health. You also had some interaction with the child welfare system, foster care system. And really, again, fragile information, fragile experience, but I think really so significant, because all of our experience, well, it's my humble belief, but that all of our experiences, be they good, bad, or somewhere in between, really inform who we are today.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, how much of that are you willing to share? You can glaze the surface, or not at all, but just curious what you're willing to share.
Well, a lot of times growing up, this is what got me into the field of psychology. Because I was very curious. And in the beginning, I was wondering, what is happening to me? And then I went into, why is this happening to me? Right? And how come the very people that I'm supposed to love and trust can be so toxic?
Yeah.
So I was on a mission. I was on a mission to find out how come, like I said, how come my mom had to use beating as a way to teach me?
Yeah, why?
Why?
Yeah,
I kept
yeah.
saying why. And why me? Why, I've already suffered refugee camp.
Right.
I already suffered the kidnapping. I already suffered the Thai pirates. I already suffered witnessing blood and killing. And then here I am meeting this woman who I call mother, would do such thing that led to me being taken away to DCFS.
Yeah.
And the answer really came up is, I learned to externalize now that there's something wrong with her, not me. Because DCFS, and I was 13 years old, be black and blue, went to a home in Bell. I don't even know where Bell is. And sometime it feels like I'm just going through I'm going down the river and you're just getting slapped back and forth and you don't know where you're going.
Right.
So I ended up in that place living with a lady who is Hispanic. And like I said, my culture shock is meeting Hispanic people, right? Or the diversity of California is so diverse, right? And so, again, I brought out my curious self going, oh, this is where I'm going to be. Then what am I going to eat? What am I going to sleep? Where am I going to go to school? And then I just kind of go day by day, day by day. But definitely it was hard because culturally, I didn't eat any Asian food when I was with the person.
Wow.
I call them the human.
Wow.
There was no Asian cultural experience being in that system. Yeah. And so I was very happy, actually, to come back home after the court session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Even though some abuse continue, I was still with my brothers and my sisters and the food and the cultural experience that I was very comfortable with.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Comfortable with, familiar with.
Right.
Yeah. Kind of like, a little bit of baseline,
Yeah. So now I can use this knowledge to really ask my client, and I can actually be with them in that space. Yeah. What's it like to be there, and what was the experience for you, and what has it made for you to believe about yourself?
Right.
And then transition to what would you rather believe instead?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, so I get to, now when I look back on all my experience, it's like, wow, I have the ability to sit with you and be with you in the space that is the most uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of the work that you've done on yourself,
Exactly.
you're able to take your clients even
Right.
further.
Yeah.
Yes,
I tell them all,
I love that.
you can't go through it. You can't get to the other end
Right.
without going through it.
Very true.
And
Very true.
we are capable.
Absolutely.
I'm capable. You're capable. And we can go. And I will be with you every step of the way to get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we try going up.
Yeah.
We try going down. We
Yeah.
try going to the side.
Yeah. Yeah. Got to go through it.
You gotta go through
Yeah.
it.
I wholeheartedly concur. Yeah. Yeah.
Because the body knows what it needs.
For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because if the body went through it, then the body needs to come out through it.
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure. You need to
Yeah.
come full circle, basically. Yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense to me. Well, thank you. Thank you for going there with me a little bit. I appreciate it. Let's pivot a bit.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about your licensure journey and maybe build on that conversation a little bit in terms of what inspired you to pursue therapy and counseling. And
it was high school. And I was wondering, what am I good at? You know, I was not a very studious child based on the trauma that I was that I went through.
Yeah.
And so I was like, what am I good at? What am I good at? And so in high school, I think it was for sophomore year or junior year, there was a class called peer counseling. And I took the class.
Yeah.
And I thought, is this even a class?
Wow.
Where I can write poems, I can journal,
Wow.
I can share my thoughts, my feelings. And then I get to go to an elementary school and meet up with a kid that would tell me their story, and I get to listen to their story.
Wow.
How awesome is this?
Right. Right.
So that was the beginning of my journey. Like,
Love it.
I can do this, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel so privileged to be kind of like the listener of their stories. And so I took peer counseling every year until I graduated, and I said, I can do this. And then I had to get out of my house anyways. So I said, whatever it takes, Casey. So do your homework and
let's go.
Get things done and get that GPA and take that SAT so you can get out of this place. So then I major in human services.
Okay.
At Cal State Fullerton. And more classes. And then I was getting A's and B's.
Thriving.
Yeah. And it was like speaking my language.
That's
and
great.
I said, I can get a 3.11.
Doing what I love, what feels natural.
Yeah. So it became a part of who I was and who I am. And it's my language. I speak it. I think it. And I had a lot of good mentors along the way. Gerald Corey was one of the mentors.
Yeah.
He saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. And he thought, she can inspire people.
Yeah.
So for a very long time, I didn't think I was good enough to do anything good and to have my grades reflected back,
Right.
saying, no, you are good at something. Keep going.
Right. Yeah.
So I kept going, and even though as I moved forward, I struggled with writing because English is my second language.
Right. Right.
It didn't matter. Just stock up all the tutoring,
Yeah.
you know, get all the revision. So someone might write their paper the night before. I have to write my paper like a month ahead.
A month in advance. Yeah.
Yeah. So then I can get the editing and then submit that.
Yeah.
So was there a moment where I felt like, oh my gosh, how come I have to take the hard road? Like, how come my road is hard? Like, again, back to the why, you know?
Yep.
Like, how come
Right.
my mountains seem to be taller
Right.
or my curves seem to be wider?
Yeah.
But looking back now, I really enjoy the journey. So it took me 5 years to complete my undergrad.
Okay.
You know, cry a little bit about it, going, wow, how come I didn't get to do the 4 years? But go, well, that's who I am.
Right. Yeah.
And then so that was my new mantra. Like, this is who I am. I'm fine the way I am.
Yep. Yep.
And it took me 3 years instead of 2 to get my 3,000 hours.
Okay.
But that's just who I am. That's how I learn.
Part of the journey.
Yeah. So one of the ways I realize is I learn when I really know it. I can't just memorize it.
Right.
I really have to know exactly what
Right.
I'm doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it took me longer because I'm the type that I need to know every ingredients in that dish and what it does to the dish, you know?
Right.
And then after that 3 years, but of course along the way there was a lot of fighting back against society pressure of shame and for not making those milestones the way that everybody does.
Yep. Yeah.
But I'm not everybody.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
So another hard part was it took me 3 times to pass each part of the exam. That was painful. That was really painful. And I had to fight against that belief. Like, you know, am I made to believe that I'm stupid?
Right.
No,
Never going to do this. Never going to happen.
I'm going to fight it. I'm going to
Right.
fight it.
Right.
And
Yep.
just a little pitch in, my godmom, she really helped me a lot. She taught me that you're going to pass at one point or another. If you keep going, you have that grit.
That's right.
That grit.
That's right.
You're going to pass.
Yeah.
And so on the third try of the first exam I passed, oh my God, tears is coming down like waterfall.
Of course. Of course.
And then I got myself back up again.
Yep.
And then I took 3 times to pass the second part. So maybe my lucky number is 3 times.
Maybe so. Third time's the charm.
Yeah. So just watching other people pass before me and get promoted or whatever, it was hard. It was hard to fight back against the belief.
Yes. Yes.
And I just have to pivot my mind to remind myself, this is who I am.
That's right.
Because there's so much pressure, like society pressure, gender pressure,
Right.
you know, cultural pressure, parental
Self-inflicted
pressure,
pressure.
self-inflicted pressure. Wow, yes. So it was fighting. It was a lot of fighting back, like shooting down all that negative distortion. You know, bam, 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 bam.
Yeah, absolutely. You have your shield. You
Yeah.
know, everything ricochet, 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 ricochet. You know. Yeah.
If that was a game, I'd be like, oh, that was a negative cognition. Psh.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can actually see that in my mental image.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the journey was
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was good.
Well, and again, you know, another contributing factor to the resiliency and the determination. It's like, you know, building blocks.
Yeah.
These painful journeys are also, ironically, opportunities. You know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And again, it's about the frame you choose to put around them.
Yeah.
What do you tell yourself? What do you, over and over, and challenging those narratives, those longstanding narratives that are just aired, but that you've been made to believe, over time. I love that story. So licensure, And then I know you worked in community mental health for a while. And I know we talked about coming out of DMH, community mental health, document. We become experts at that. Time management, checking the boxes, all of that.
Yeah.
So when you made the decision, though, to pivot to private practice, specifically joining our Soul Tenders Network, what was that journey like for you? And then how did that launch you into EMDR? Because I know that's your specialty, which I love.
Yeah. So based on my story, I'm sure you can guess my core emotion is fear.
Got it.
My main core at the time is, I'm not safe, right?
Yep.
I'm not safe.
Yeah.
Fear.
Right.
And then do. But that doing, now looking back, I can reverse it and say, I'm fine the way I am, and I'm happy.
Yeah.
And that I can just be me. I think for many years I was scared. I did 15 years of community mental health, working with the Asian population. I supervised many staff to working with community clients.
Right.
And from, incarceration to DCFS to, because I have so much awareness and knowledge about that.
Right.
And I was scared to go private.
Yeah.
Because for me is I need that security.
Absolutely.
You see? And it was sold to me that working for a company gives me security. My mom always said, it doesn't matter how much you get paid, just as long as you have a job.
Yep. Got a check coming in.
And then of course, you're like, oh, okay, I have a job, somebody's paying me, and you have health insurance. So it was set up to make me to believe like, you're safe.
Right.
You're secure.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. You're fine.
Yeah.
Just keep doing this. And as I was doing it, I noticed that I was experiencing burnout.
Okay.
Like I want to help so many people, but it kept making me slip back and back and back. And I said, well, I can't change the system. That's not my job, but I can change me.
That's right.
Right. So then a colleague of mine introduced me to Soul Tenders and say, hey, since you're scared and you don't know what you're doing, why don't you go with this group practice? They know what they're doing. The whole credentialing part.
Right.
They know what they're doing.
For sure.
So why don't you give it a try? And so I figured, you know what? Every decision have a consequence. And the consequences can be positive or negative.
Right.
And then after that, you still have a decision.
Absolutely.
So if I try this,
Yeah.
and if it doesn't work, I can always go back to what I know before.
Right. Very true.
But I cannot stop myself this time because I already know what I don't like. So let's go and see what's out there. The curious.
There you go. Back to the curious nature. Yeah.
Curious nature.
Oh, yeah.
She really helped me a lot.
That's wonderful. Yes.
She got me into a lot of opportunities.
Very exploratory.
Yes. She's so good. That playful, we talked about transactional analysis,
Definitely.
that carefree child.
Yep.
Yeah, she's really been there for me.
Love that.
So in 2020, I said, I'm going to do it. And so I contacted Soul Tender. They said, just follow these steps, very clear steps, easy step. And I'm like, okay, I'm a good follower. I could do this. Step 1, step 2, step 3. And then wouldn't look back again.
Wow.
Yeah. So now I get to do something I love, make the impact that I want, and really get people to their true self.
For sure.
And so in 2020, soon after that, Cecile, I think Soul Tender said, hey, there's this thing called EMDR. Yeah, you want to get trained in EMDR? And prior to EMDR, I was already trained in multiple evidence-based practice, like TFCBT, PATH, other evidence-based practice, because that's what the county wanted.
Exactly.
And I love childhood trauma.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
And I think many people, like myself, want to tell our story, however long it takes,
Right.
however difficult.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, I want to listen.
Right.
I want to listen. So I got trained in EMDR, certified in EMDR.
Love it.
And now I just do EMDR.
Yeah. Yes, and you know, you are the first of my colleagues, I think, who I've come across whose practice is strictly dedicated to EMDR therapy, and I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
That is wonderful. That is wonderful. So showing up for others, but then I think in a very roundabout, maybe indirect way,
Yeah.
continuing to heal yourself and to heal your own story.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, I
Working
can just
with
imagine.
Working clients really, it's like a synergy.
Yes.
Really inspires me,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
because like I said, I don't give up
Right.
and I'm always curious.
Yeah. Mm.
So it's like the two perfect ingredients to be,
Yeah.
be a
Absolutely.
therapist. I'm
Yeah.
curious about what happened to you.
For sure.
Tell me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very curious how all your experience made you to believe something.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah.
for me is everyone is a human.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You are a human named dad. You're a human named mom. But you're all human.
Mm-hmm.
And so now as an adult, I get to choose, after reprocessing my trauma, I get to choose how I see you.
Yeah.
Because you are a human to me now,
Right. Absolutely.
right? It untethers you from all the expectation or the
Right.
expectation we put on the other human.
Right.
So when everybody becomes human and I become the adult
Mm-hmm.
and I'm capable
Mm-hmm.
and I have a lot of option and choices, then I get to choose
Mm-hmm.
the humans in my life.
Yeah. Very. Yeah.
And I get to learn how to see the toxicity,
Right.
you know,
Right.
in each human.
Right.
They're not bad people.
Mm-hmm.
They just have toxicity, poison in them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like to clean.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious.
Mm-hmm.
I don't give up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I like to clean. So those
Absolutely.
are like stir it up with EMDR.
For
and
sure.
we got ourselves a journey
For
ahead.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And unraveling a lot of that, a lot of, you know, really being very exploratory in terms of looking at those layers, I think allows people to be even that much more intentional.
Mm-hmm.
You know, which humans are allowed
Yeah.
access to you?
Mm-hmm.
Which humans are you going to embrace into your space?
Yeah.
Which humans are you going to keep at arm's
Yeah.
distance? No disrespect, but just,
Yeah.
you know, this boundaries.
Right.
These are my boundaries, you know? So I absolutely love that.
I
Yeah.
am looking for people who, just like me, wanted to tell my story.
Mm-hmm.
And some people didn't want to hear my story.
Mm-hmm.
I've had therapists before.
Mm-hmm.
That's another inspiration, you know. When I experience a therapist that I'm like, oh no,
Right.
then I want to be a better therapist.
For sure. Mm-hmm.
And so for me, as I'm looking for, I guess I am so fortunate to find a clinician that wanted to hear my story,
Mm-hmm.
was not afraid to hear my story,
Mm-hmm.
and did not, really embrace, like, open the door to my story, be able to hold all my emotion because they're mine. They're not theirs. They're
Right.
mine.
Right.
And allow me to reprocess it all.
Yep. Yep.
That's all that little girl needed.
Right.
She does not need anything else
Right.
other than a safe. This is why I love the safe place of EM, right? The
Right.
safe, comfortable, peaceful, relaxing space
Mm-hmm.
for her to talk.
The containment.
The containment,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
to talk.
Got it.
That's it. Once her story's out, she's healing herself.
Right.
That's why I tell my client, you're healing yourself.
You're doing the work.
Yeah.
The client is doing the work. You're
Yeah.
there to support and to guide
Yeah,
and to contain.
huge.
Yeah.
It's dark. I'm holding the flashlight and I'm here with you. It's okay. Let's
Yeah.
inch a little more.
Yeah.
Wherever your body will tell you.
For sure.
Your body will like,
Yeah.
I'm going to go farther, Casey.
Yeah.
Or I want to turn left. I want to turn right. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I always tell my client, I don't listen to you. We're borrowing your body. I'm borrowing your voice to talk to your body, to talk to me.
For sure.
Yeah.
But it is a very collaborative journey, and you're walking alongside of them.
Oh, absolutely.
That also provides, that's part of the containment, you know, and clients, they either feel it or they don't. And if they feel it and they sense it and they trust it,
Yeah.
then, you know, they're going to go further. So, well, listen, I could sit here for more hours and talk to you about this. This is so intriguing to me. I absolutely love this. Well, in the essence of time, we'll pause, but I really want to thank you so much for joining me today. This was an incredibly intriguing and insightful conversation with you. Thank you for your time. And I imagine if any of our viewers would like to reach out to you in an effort to connect or ask questions or any combination thereof, I believe maybe emailing you might be the best avenue, right?
Yes.
What's a good email address for you, Casey?
So you can email me at CHUYNH.IP@soultenders.com.
Wonderful. And as always, if you have any questions for me, feel free to reach out to me via email, cmajid.ip@soultenders.com. That's CMAJIED.IP@soultenders.com. And if you have any questions about Provider Spotlight or conversations with Carmen, feel free to reach out to Provider Relations at providerrelations@soultenders.com. Once again, thank you very much. Casey Huynh, licensed marriage and family therapist. It was a pleasure. I'll catch you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.